Hello, YouTube. I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney. And we have a question that was asked about 2 weeks ago. So I apologize, YouTube user Jay O'Neill, on my slow response time. I am the worst. It's true. But I do want to get you an answer, and I answered a little bit in text, but I'll give you a better answer, a video answer right now. So, on our video entitled, Can I Be Fired for Filing a Sexual Harassment or Workplace Discrimination Claim with the EEOC? YouTube user Jay O'Neill asks, Hey, quick question. I filed a sexual harassment case against my manager, and after the investigation, they fired him. Can I still sue, or should I just let it go? And I asked a couple of things, and Jay O'Neill responded. I asked, the employer sounds like they did the right thing here, so the case might not be worth as much. And Jay O'Neill responds, yes, they did, but I still don't feel right about the whole situation and how they treated me. And I said, hey, it might still be worth speaking to a local attorney. I'm not telling you to let this go. I'm just telling you that the case valuation may have changed a bit since they fired the bad guy. Okay. In this case, and Jay O'Neill specifies, in this case, the bad guy was a female. So not a bad guy at all, but a bad woman. All right, so here's the deal. When employers do the right thing, it's rare, but it happens, right? You go to your employer, you say, hey, this person sexually harassing me. The employer says, whoa, I want to look into this for you. I'm sorry. And then they do. And they say, hey, you're right. That person's a bad person. They're doing bad things. They're out of here. That's an employer doing the right thing. That's impressive and rare. Now, that does happen a couple times a year, and it changes the valuation of a claim drastically, right? If that same employer in that situation, if you go, you make your complaint like, hey, I'm being sexually harassed, and that employer comes back and fires you, well, they just handed you a lottery ticket. We don't know what it's worth, but it could be worth something. It sure is a potential claim, right? You got retaliation claim, you got a sexual harassment claim, you got all these claims going on. Federal law, state law, local law could all be in play. On the other side of the coin, when they do the right thing, they investigate as per their duty. They say, hey, we believe you. And we're going to act accordingly. We're going to act to protect you, to keep our employees safe from this villain. Then, the valuation of that case drops exponentially. Now, don't get me wrong. You've still been wronged. You've still been put through an emotional trauma, right? Somebody trying to leverage their position of power to get sexual favors out of you, or affirmation, or whatever it was, right? That feels real bad. That is an unpleasant experience that harms your emotional and mental well-being. May have also, at some point, harmed your economic prospects with that company, right? So there's still a claim there. There's still some value of that case. And I think it's worth speaking to a local employment attorney about that case. But the case will absolutely be worth much, much less than it might have been had your company been more evil, which I think is a good thing. Yeah, these cases are never cases that you want to have. That's a great myth in the public zeitgeist. It's never good to have an employment case. Your career is always worth more. Your happiness, your well-being, being able to go to work and not be afraid for your livelihood. These things are all more valuable than a sexual harassment case or workplace discrimination case. Always, 100%. There's no 99% of plaintiffs would say, I wish this never happened to me. So I'm not wishing that you had a more valuable case. I'm glad you don't. I'm glad your employer did the right thing. I'm glad they learned from the mistakes of others, or even their own mistakes. I don't know who your employer is, but they learned and they did better. And I applaud them. But yeah, there's still some valuation of that case, and a local attorney could potentially help you get that. You could also just talk to your company and be like, hey, I appreciate what you did for me. I'm a little upset. Can you do something? Can we talk about that? And I think the smart employer comes back and certainly if an employer was trying to hire me to defend them, I'd be like, yo, give that human 20 grand, 40 grand and tell them you're sorry and that you're glad you could fix things and get a release, right? That employer would probably want you to sign a release in return for that, hypothetical 15, 20, 40 grand, whatever it is. But that is how I see it. That's my thoughts. And I'm sorry you experienced that. Sounds very unpleasant, but I'm glad they did the right thing. If this video was helpful, like and subscribe. Helps me to help you and more people like you. Take care.